All right, so now we're on page 494. So Hitler grew bored with fighting and trying to um, overtake the British in the Battle of Britain. So now he's shifted his attention to North Africa. So Italy is already in North Africa. So the fascist dictator Mussolini, who is the leader of Italy, is already fighting the British in North Africa. They're in Egypt. They're fighting over the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is an oil-rich area. Why are they fighting over this area, which is so far away from Europe? Well, it's not really that far away. So if you look at this map, this is North Africa. And up here, if you go straight up, this is Europe. So like this right here is Greece. This is Corsica, which is what the boot of Italy is kicking. And then there's Europe, so it's really close. And oil is here. So this is the Suez Canal right here. Why is oil important? Oil is really become important here in the early part of the 20th century because of the newly emerging automobiles, but also in time of war, airplanes, tanks, all the things that, automobiles, all the things that are needed in times of war, definitely needed right now. The Germans want control of this, and they don't want the British to have it, because then the British would have those things for their weapons of war. So again, the Italians and the British are fighting over this area, and up until about February of 1941, they've kind of been going back and forth. Nobody's really had an advantage over the other until finally the British push the Italians over 500 miles of desert, and they take 130,000 Italians prisoner. So this is when the Germans send German forces, a German tank force down to take command of the area. This German tank force is called the Afrika Korps. It's under the command of General Erwin Rommel. And when the forces make it down to North Africa, they completely take the British by surprise. And they're able to overtake them and push them all the way back to Libya. So here we are in Africa, right, in the Suez Canal area. And they push the British forces all the way back to Tobruk, Libya. So about right in here. So this is a huge win for the Germans. But once the British sort of get back on their feet again, there's back and forth fighting between the British and the Germans for quite a bit of time, so the British will gain some, the Germans will gain some, the British will gain some, the Germans will gain some, but Rommel, this is Rommel right here. This is Mussolini. This is Rommel right here. But he had so many wins in North Africa that he gained the nickname the Desert Fox. Now, if you watch this clip right here, this is a clip that was made by the German government, by the Nazis, and it's like propaganda about their successes in North Africa. So just remember that it is biased for the Germans, and it has a lot of patriotic music. But it really gives a good depiction of what it was like to fight in North Africa in the desert. It shows the soldiers, how it gives you an idea of how hot it was fighting in the desert, riding in his metal tanks. And it's interesting also seeing sort of the contrast between those soldiers and then the officers were still wearing their heavy uniforms in the desert. So I think it's an interesting clip.